intention of this practice is to create awareness, connecting the body, mind, feelings, emotions, and breath, introducing breath development, and connecting the breath and movement while introducing pelvic floor stability and the movement of the spine. We'll begin our practice by inviting ourselves to lay on the mat. And from here, we're just going to explore how to create physical awareness to the left and the right side of the body, external rotation of the shoulder joint, hip joint, happy back, scapula, and location of the dens. So we'll begin with the vertebrae exploration, exploring and isolating the movements of the spine. With your eyes closed, sense that the upper and lower body are in line. The pelvis broad and supported, and equal weight on each side of the pelvis. The upper back broad and open, relaxed, and surrendering to the earth, the neck long. Slowly bend one leg and rest the foot flat on the floor. And just notice the sense of the shift in the pelvis there. Bring the other foot to the floor and just feel the difference there. When you feel supported, imagine the imprint of your body into the floor. Where does your body touch the floor and where it leaves the floor? You can relax the legs back down to the mat. Taking the legs hip-width apart, inhale and locate where in your lower back, the curved part of your spine, you feel you need more support. As you breathe into your low back or the lumbar, create space on your exhale by allowing your legs to be hip-width apart and create more stability for your lower back and your pelvic girdle. Bringing the legs back down. Moving on to the shoulder girdle. As you are inhaling and exhaling, from your abdomen and chest, locate your shoulder girdle. This is the area in your pecs or just a set of bones that connects to the arms on each side. Now locate your scapula. Okay. Draw your shoulder blades together. You bring awareness to the movement in the scapula as we open the chest. As you inhale and your chest opens, notice the slight movement in the scapula and the strengthening you feel in between your shoulder blades. Moving on to our Dens point, we want to just talk briefly about this real quick, which is where you want to initiate all of your head movement from. It's a pivot point. So the Dens point connects the two most important vertebrae in the spine. Without them, the head and neck movement would be impossible. So take your fingers to the back of your head, or neck head, and you're going to walk them up the spine until you reach the back of your head. Where the head connects to the neck is about the area we call the Dens. And it's from here that I'd like you to think as your pivot point when you move your head. So creating mind-body connection in regards to the Dens, where the skull pivot from, displace the head back slightly or just gently push the head into the mat. Draw or invite the chin towards the chest, lengthening the back of the neck, and then return to neutral. And keeping the chin parallel with the floor, moving from the Dens point, turn the head to the right. You can come back to neutral, and then the same for the left. And just feeling that where you pivot from. The progression of Dens point awareness is not to move the head automatically in poses, so that when we do turn our heads, we do so correctly. While still lying on our backs, we want to find a happy back. A happy back is no pain when lying down. So if you have any pain, you can do one of four things. You can bend your knees. You can allow your bend in and rest on each other. You can draw your tailbone under so as to create more space in the lower lumbar. Or you could use a pillow or a bolster under the knees to alleviate pain. As long as you have no pain, you should have a happy back. We'll start to move into breath development, starting with passive observation. Allow yourself to just relax into the mat, arms alongside body with palms facing the floor. Feel the expression of relaxation in your body. Feel the support of the floor beneath you and just appreciate this feeling. Just begin to observe your breath. As we move into passive observation, just taking notice of the breath here. You're not changing your breath, you're just observing your breath. Does it feel short? Does it feel staggered? Is it long or slow? We'll now create an intention to allow our breath to take on the qualities of Dirghta. Dirghta, long and smooth, and Sukshma, effortless. Allow yourself to stay here for a few moments. We will then move on to belly breath or abdominal breathing. This is the first method of breath development that students are taught. Accustomed to a fast pace of life, we habitually only breathe into the chest using the top part of the lungs, which in turn can stimulate stress. So practicing belly breath will allow us to learn to breathe deeper and will later serve help to teach deeper breathing that helps calm the mind in some forms of meditation. To begin, the lower abdominals are relaxed. You can leave your arms on the side or you can bring them to your belly if that's helpful. I like to bring them to my stomach. You're going to inhale. Begin to feel your breath enter your lungs and then bulging the belly out as it also fills with air. With the exhale, feel the natural release of air from your belly and then your chest. We'll try that one more time. You'll inhale, begin to feel your breath into your lungs and then bulging the belly out, filling that with air. Exhale, feeling the natural release of air from your belly and then the chest. On this next round, this time, we want to begin to lengthen the spine and create space in our lumbar. So begin to inhale, filling the center of your chest like a balloon, and then consciously contract your abdomen to fill it as well. As you exhale, release the abdomen, and then release the air from the top of your chest last. We're going to continue this a few times. You'll inhale, lengthening the spine, creating space in that low back, filling the center of your chest. And then the abdomen. Exhale, release the abdomen, and then release the air from the top of your chest. Just continue this a couple more times. As we finish with belly breath, we'll start to move into resting or natural breath. Developing a connection to resting breath is a good way to become aware of our patterns of breathing and to release control of breath. Allow allow yourself to let go and notice how you feel in the moment. You want to connect to your breath here. You want to learn to relax and release the breath. Where does your breath end and where does it begin? And just becoming aware of and releasing control of the breath to its natural rhythm. This can sound easy, but letting go is a skill to be developed over time. You have to unlearn breathing habits, becoming aware of and releasing control of the breath to its natural rhythm. Moving into chest to abdomen. Understanding chest to abdomen allows us to have a deeper connection with asana movement, creating space in the lower lumbar through the exhale and to create space in the thoracic during the inhale. So this helps support the spine in the most natural state during poses and asana, and the goal and main priority is to link the body and the breath and the mind during a series of movements and postures. We're going to think of the practice like this, gradually contracting from lower abdomen, pubic bone to navel. We want to inhale into the center of the chest with a sense of expansion, and then consciously contract the lower abdomen during exhalation. So begin exhaling into the low abdomen, drawing in slightly. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Practice this a couple times. Begin with an exhale into the low abdomen, drawing in slightly. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Focus on expanding the lungs as you inhale and lengthening the spine, moving the body upwards. Allow the spine to relax on the exhale. Practice this a few more times. On your next exhale, progressively contract your abdomen from pubic bone toward the navel. On the inhale, gradually release the contraction from the navel to the pubic bone. This is going to take time and practice to develop. So we just focus students' ability to be able to inhale into the middle of the chest and exhale, drawing the lower abdomen in and then eventually up. Before beginning our asanas, we're going to bring awareness to our pelvic floor. Just try tightening your muscles really gently to feel the pelvic floor muscles lifting and squeezing in. You should feel a lift and a contract inside your pelvis. The lower abdomen may flatten slightly, but try to keep everything above the belly button relaxed and just breathe normally. The pelvic floor is engaged on the inhale and not the exhale. We want to have a conscious awareness of our pelvic floor muscles so as to help use the pelvic floor stability appropriately in poses where we require stabilization and protection for the lower back. We're going to move into some prep poses, still lying on our mat. Starting with some stretching breaths. Come to find a happy back with arms alongside body, palms facing down. We'll move into stretching breaths to help connect movements to breath. You'll inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion as you raise your arms overhead. Notice how the spine responds to raising the arms. Avoid hyperextending through your neck. And exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine and bring the arms back alongside the body to starting position. We're going to repeat a few more times, maintaining the movement contained in breath. You can engage the pelvic floor stability during inhale if that helps support your back. You'll inhale, middle of the chest, with a sense of expansion, raising your arms overhead. And you'll exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine, lowering the arms back alongside the body. You can just do this on your own a few more times. Inhale, raising the arms overhead. Exhale, coming back to starting position. Coming back to neutral with a happy back. You're going to bend your knees and place your feet flat on the floor. Be sure your feet are directly below your knees. And you want your feet about hip width apart or just alongside each side of your mat. Maybe just a little further than hip width apart. Locate your dens. Displace the head back slightly. And then draw the chin down slightly to lengthen the back of the neck. And just ensure you're pivoting from the dens. Inhale with a sense of expansion to prepare. Exhale, slowly bring both legs to the right side of the mat, keeping arms alongside, or you can bring them out to your side a little further. You want to try and keep your shoulder blades on the mat and just try not to over twist there. Inhale in the middle of the chest, engage your pelvic floor stability, bringing both legs back to starting position. Release the posture and complete the exhale. So release your legs back down to the mat and exhale. We're going to repeat on both sides a few more times, moving with the breath. So bringing your feet back flat on the mat, legs about hip width apart. Inhale, sense of expansion to prepare. Exhale, slowly bring both legs to the left side of the mat. Inhale, middle of the chest, engaging pelvic floor, bringing both legs to the starting position. Release the posture and complete the exhale. Going to repeat this one more time for each side. Bring the feet back up. Inhale, expanding the chest. Exhale to the right side. Inhale, middle of the chest. Exhale, releasing the posture. You can bring your head in opposite directions if that helps with the stretch. Or you can even dorsiflex your feet to protect your knees if there's any pain there. Bringing the feet back up. Inhale, sense of expansion to prepare. Exhale, slowly bring both legs to the left. Inhale, middle of the chest, engaging pelvic floor. Bringing the legs back to starting position and releasing the posture. Exhale. While still lying on our backs here, engage the pelvic floor slightly as you lift the feet off the floor and rest the palms on the knees. Yep, just slightly, there you go. Knees and feet together, shoulders relaxed. Begin stacking vertically, the knees above the hips, then adjust to find a neutral spine. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine and bring the knees a little closer to the chest. And just use your arms as a guide. You don't need to force it. straighten the arms and move the knees away from the chest back to starting position you established. We're going to repeat this a couple more times. Engaging the pelvic floor, lifting the feet off the floor, resting the palms on the knees, keeping the knees and feet together, shoulders relaxed. Begin stacking knees vertically above the hips. Exhale, draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine and bring the knees closer to the chest. Inhale, straighten the arms and move knees away from the chest back to starting position. You can do this a couple more times. Inhale, pelvic floor, lifting the feet, resting the palms on the knees. Stack vertically. Exhale, gently draw lower abdomen back towards the spine, bringing the knees closer. Inhale, straightening the arms and move the knees away from the chest. You can also do this with your legs spread if this were to ever cause any pain on the knees or the hips. So coming back to your starting position, bringing the knees up, we are going to roll to seated. On an inhale, lift your tailbone just slightly off the floor, placing your hands in a diamond formation underneath your sacrum or tailbone. There we go. Become aware of the connection to the ground from your forearms to your elbows. Exhale, just gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine. Press through the hands and forearms and just slightly bringing your torso. So they want, I don't know why they're so picky about this part. I guess when I'm saying just slightly lift, I'm just doing this a little bit. And then I'll say,
the momentum.
yeah, and then I'll say roll to seated. Okay. So becoming aware of the connection to the ground from your forearms to the elbows. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine and press through your hands and forearms to bring your hips off the floor just slightly. While maintaining that shape, inhale the knees up towards the chest. Keep the feet close to the buttocks and dorsiflex. Exhale, roll up to seated. Nice. And just adjust into a comfortable seated position, finding a neutral spine. We're going to move into easy seat, so we're just going to kind of learn how to calibrate our pelvis here and find a neutral spine. So we're in a seated position, our legs are crossed, and you can actually kind of want to make sure your feet are directly below your knees. You can rest your hands on the knees or lap, palms facing up or down, whichever. You want a comfortable gap between your pelvis and your feet, so you can always bring your legs further out if you'd like, or maybe just a little further in. Okay, we want to find a neutral spine here. So a neutral spine refers to the natural curves of the spine and their relationship to each other. When upright, the spine directly loads onto the pelvis. Therefore, the position of the pelvis and our ability to calibrate this directly governs the position of the spine. If the pelvis is tipped forward, anterior pelvic tilt, or backward, posterior pelvic tilt, it can result in imbalances through the curves. So neutral spine alignment will be different for each person. We do this to find correct spine alignment. So we want to find the correct load on our intervertebral disc. You want to put a pillow under your sit bones to bring the pelvis into a more neutral, stable position. Yep. Placing it under your sit bones, move comfortably so you feel lifted and lengthened. You can adjust the height of the pillow if needed. Shift so that the sit bones are on the edge of your pillow. And sit with your weight in front of your sit bones. From your sitting position, we want to rock our pelvis back and forth. So first go all the way backwards and then go all the way forward. We're going to perform these motions again, but only about 75% backward and then 75% forward. Second time, 50% back forward. And just continue this motion until you find the middle point of halfway between your full posterior tilt and full anterior tilt. You should feel like you're sitting on your butt bone. This is considered your neutral spine position. Notice the position of your head. Lift the shoulders up and roll back. Scapula together. Feel and appreciate the opening of the chest. You can put your hand on your head and grow gently into the head, creating a feeling of lengthening the spine while keeping the natural curvatures of the spine. Let arms relax and feel at ease and comfortable, and just adjust your knees and legs where necessary and breathe natural here for a few moments. Allow your breath to return to normal for a moment. We're going to move into a seated lateral stretch. So sitting with a neutral spine, we're going to inhale the arms overhead, lengthening through the spine. Feeling your ribs expand, interlace the fingers and lift through the body. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears and avoid crunching through the neck, while exhaling, being aware not to collapse into the lower side of the torso. Bend sideways to the right while reaching through the arms and spine, lengthening the side of our body. Inhale, slowly coming back up to a neutral spine. Exhale, and completely relax the arms back down to your side. We're going to repeat this a couple more times, but you want to switch out your legs so we can feel the same stretch on each side. We don't want to stay in the pose for too long, otherwise the whole body will overly engage and not ease at all. While inhaling back to center, make sure the lower abdomen contracted to support the lower lumbar. If you're not comfortable interlacing the fingers, I can offer you a seated side body stretch. It'll just allow the same stretch, but without interlacing the fingers. So we're going to repeat this a couple more times. Inhale, arms overhead, lengthening through the spine. Interlacing the fingers and lift through the body. Exhale, slowly bending to the left. Inhale, slowly coming back up to neutral spine. Exhale completely, relaxing the arms back in. Switching out the legs again. Inhale, arms up overhead. Interlace the fingers. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale, bend sideways to the right while reaching through the arms, lengthening the spine. Inhale, slowly coming back up, neutral spine. Exhale, arms back down. Switching up the legs one more time. Inhale, arms up overhead. Interlace the fingers. Exhale, slowly bend to the left side. Inhale, slowly coming back up. Exhale, releasing the pose. All right, so from here, we're going to transition from seated to tabletop, just coming up to all fours. You're going to stack your wrists, elbows, shoulders, knees, hips. So hands in line underneath the shoulders, and knees in line underneath the hips with the feet hip width apart. Spread the fingers to distribute weight evenly in your hands, and come to find a neutral spine. If this is heavy on your wrist, you can always put your hands in a fist, or you can actually roll up a blanket or your mat at the front here to use as support. But just make sure your fingers are spread. So with a neutral spine, anchor the lower ribs to make sure we are not flaring them out. You want to inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion.
Engaging the pelvic floor as you lift your right arm and left leg off the floor, keeping the arm, leg, and neck in a straight line. Try to keep the pelvis level with the mat, keeping the hips and chest parallel with the floor. Ensure your core is strong and active and no overarching in the spine. Add just a micro bend to your elbows, let's not hyperextend them. Just notice the feeling of lengthening through the spine and the neck and strength using the lower abs. Exhale, releasing the arm and leg back down to the floor, continuing that movement with breath. We're going to repeat for the other side with the neutral spine, anchoring the lower ribs. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion, engaging the pelvic floor as you lift your left arm and right leg off the floor, keeping the arm, leg, neck in a straight line. Keeping the pelvis level with the mat, lengthening through the spine and neck. Exhale, releasing the arm and leg back down to the floor. We'll repeat this one more time for each side. Neutral spine, anchoring the lower ribs. Inhale, middle of the chest, gauging pelvic floor as you lift your right arm and left leg off the floor. Arm, leg, and neck in a straight line. Exhale, releasing the arm and leg back down to the floor. Back to a neutral spine. One more time. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Engage pelvic floor as you lift your left arm and right leg off the floor. Arm, leg, and neck, straight line. Engaging your core. Micro bend in your elbow. Exhale, releasing the arm and leg back down to the floor. Coming back. While on tabletop with a neutral spine, we'll start to move through our cat and cow pose. If you do have any spinal injuries or back pain, you should avoid this asana. On an exhale, we're going to engage the lower abdomen with a sense of contraction. Rounding the spine, pressing through the hands, and lifting up, allowing the shoulder blades to move away from the spine to round the back. You're going to bring your gaze down and allow the head to drop down between the shoulders. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Maintain a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen and open the chest to find cow pose, lengthening the spine from the top of the vertebrae as to not compress the lower lumbar, and invite the tailbone to rise. Become aware of the spine and try to move one vertebrae at a time. Exhaling, engaging the lower abdomen with a sense of contraction, rounding the spine, pressing through the hands, moving back into cat. Allowing your head to drop down between the shoulders. Being sure not to hyperextend our elbows, keeping a micro bend if needed. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion, maintaining the subtle contraction of the lower abdomen. Opening the chest to find cow pose, lengthening the spine from the top of the vertebrae. Bringing the gaze forward. And we're going to keep continuing the movement with breath for a few more times. We want to make sure to press through the hands and the top of the feet into the floor. Don't collapse the spine during inhalation and maintain a slight residual contraction of the lower abdomen to protect your lower back. On an exhale, engage the lower abdomen with a sense of contraction, rounding the spine, coming into cat. Bringing your gaze down, allowing the shoulders to drop away from the ears. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Opening the chest to find cow pose, lengthening the spine, and inviting the tailbone to rise. And just continue this movement with breath a couple more times. Exhale into cat. Inhale, opening the chest into cat. There is a variation for knee or wrist pain. You can do this pose seated, arching and flexing the back. And a pad or blanket under the knees may also help. It's bringing the spine back to a neutral position. We are going to move into our downward facing dog pose. So coming back to the neutral spine, spread the fingers, distributing the weight evenly. With a sense of lifting as to not force any weight into your wrists. We're going to exhale and gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine and tuck the toes under. Pushing the floor away from you, lift your hips up and back, lifting the knees off the floor and pushing yourself back into an upside down V pose. And this is down dog. Keep the knees bent and keep the shoulders broad and away from the neck. Keep the lower ribs anchored and activate the lower abdominals. Inhale, coming back to all fours, moving slowly, noticing the transition. We're going to repeat this a few times, staying on all fours with a neutral spine. Exhale, draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine, tucking the toes, pushing the floor away from you, lifting your hips up and back, lifting the knees off the floor into down dog. You want to take notice that you are not shifting your weight into your arms or hands. Shift the weight back into the hips, keeping a slight bend in the knees and lengthen through the spine. Keeping the hips up and away from you and allowing the head to drop down between the shoulders. Moving back to all fours. We're going to do this one more time. And exhale, tucking the toes, drawing the lower abdomen back towards the spine. Push the floor away from you and lift your hips up and back. If you feel comfortable, you can start pedaling your feet here. But if you ever feel any pull on your hamstrings, just bend your knees more. As you progress in this pose, you will eventually be able to straighten the legs just a little bit more. Inhale, moving back to all fours. Shifting your weight back, exhale, opening the hips out while knees still bent to move back towards child's pose. Relax here, returning your breath to normal. On an inhale, return yourself back up to all fours. Coming back to a neutral spine. On an inhale, you want to lift your knees, keeping the hands on the floor, and start to walk the feet up towards the hands, keeping a slight bend in the knees. Exhale, keeping that slight bend while maintaining a connection to the thighs. You can rest your hands on a block, or you can bring them to your hips. From here, we're going to move into standing. We want to be very aware as to not roll up as to standing, as it can create anterior discompression. We want to move into standing by leading with our chest and lengthening our lower back muscles. So starting with short levers, inhale, bring your hands to your hips or allow them to slide up the legs to minimize the load on your back. Complete the exhale. Inhale, middle of the chest with a sense of expansion, maintaining a slight contraction of the lower abdomen. Press through the feet, activate your back, and begin to move up. With your upper body and your pelvis moving as a unit, keep the head in line with the spine. Exhale completely once you reach the top, releasing the arms down by your side. Feet firmly connected to the mat. Stand with feet hip width apart, neutral spine. Focus on stabilizing through the 3 arches of the feet. Activate your thigh muscles, lifting the kneecaps, maintaining the subtle contraction of the lower abdomen. Open up the chest, shoulders relaxed and back slightly. Extend the crown of the head towards the ceiling, lengthening through the back of the neck. Point the fingers towards the floor, arms slightly away from you. Stay here and breathe. Inhaling into the chest with a sense of expansion. Exhale, completely suspending the breath. From here, inhale, expanding the chest, lifting the arms up overhead, keeping the chin down and the ribs anchored. Noticing the length created through the front of the body. If you can't raise the arms, you can always just bring the hands to the hips, leading with the chest, activating the back. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine, maintaining the length through the front of the body. While exhaling, hinging at the hips, leading with the chest, keeping a bend in the knees, resting the hands on the shins, block, or floor, just avoiding the knees. Completing the exhale. The goal here is to bring the torso to the thighs. Keep a bend in the knees to avoid stress on the low back. Inhale, feel and create an intention to lengthen the front of your torso. Exhale the lower abdomen back towards the spine, hinging in the hips and folding just a little further with a sense of reaching out with the arms. Complete the exhale and allow the head to fall towards the floor. If you're able to maintain the length in the spine, you can start to straighten your legs just a little bit. If you feel any sense of pain or pulling, just keep the knees bent. As you inhale, maintaining a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen to support your lower back, leading with the chest, bring your hands to the hips and transition back to standing, leading with the chest, feet firmly grounded to the mat. Complete the exhale, releasing the arms back down to your sides. We're just going to repeat this a couple more times. Inhale, expanding the chest, lifting the arms overhead, keeping the chin down and the ribs anchored. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine, maintaining the length through the front of the body, hinging at the hips, leading with the chest, keeping a bend in the knees, resting hands on your block or the shins. Complete the exhale. Bringing the torso to the thighs, keeping that bend in the knees. Inhale, creating the intention to lengthen the front of the torso. Exhale, the lower abdomen back towards the spine, hinging at the hips and folding just a little further. Complete the exhale and allow your head to fall forward. Inhale, maintaining that subtle contraction in the low abdomen, supporting your low back, bringing your hands to the hips, leading with the chest, transitioning back to standing with feet firmly grounded to the mat. And Complete the exhale, releasing your arms back down. One more time, we're gonna inhale, raising the arms up overhead. Exhale, leading with the chest, hinging at the hips, bending the knees, holding forward, allowing your hands to rest on the block. Complete your exhale, allowing your head to fall down. Inhale, lengthening the front of the torso. Exhale, hinging at the hips, folding further just a little more. Complete your exhale. Inhale, bringing hands to the hips, leading with the chest. Transition back up. And exhale, releasing the arms back down. Coming to a seated position. Extending the legs forward. Okay. We're going to move into staff pose or Dandasana. Legs together and straight, but not locking up the knees. Back straight, arms alongside the torso. You can always add a pillow underneath your sit bones here if you feel like you need more of the support under your lumbar. Palms on the floor, shoulders relaxed. You can always just keep a bend in your knees for tight hamstrings. Press down through your sit bones to lengthen the spine upwards. Locate your dens point. Displace the head back slightly. Bringing the chin forward. And back to neutral. Close your eyes and just breathe naturally here. Moving into a seated forward bend, you can dorsiflex the feet to engage the feet, keeping that slight bend in your knees. Inhale, bringing the arms overhead and anchoring the ribs. Tall and lengthening the spine, allowing the shoulders to relax away from the ears, bending the knees. Exhale, lower abdomen, softening the knees, and with a sense of reaching out with the arms as you fold forward, hinging at the hips. Keep that bend in your knees and laying the torso along the thighs, chin down, arms resting where comfortable, and complete your exhale. Notice the stretch along the entire back of the body as you breathe, all the way from your heels to the back of your skull. Inhale, maintain a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen, chin down. Activate the back while taking the hands to the floor and walk back up to starting position. Exhale and release the legs, taking the hands behind the hips to support the entire back and release this pose without slumping into the back. We're going to repeat a couple more times. Inhaling, the arms up overhead, sitting tall, lengthening the spine, shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale into the lower abdomen, softening the knees, reaching out with the arms, folding forward. Keeping a bend in the knees, chin down, arms resting comfortable. Complete your exhale. Inhale, maintaining that subtle contraction, bringing the hands to the floor, walking back up to starting position. Exhale, release the legs, taking the hands behind the hips, support the entire back. One more time. Inhale, arms up overhead, sitting tall, lengthening spine. Exhale into the lower abdomen, hinging at the hips, folding forward, keeping that bend in your knees. Complete your exhale. Working deeper in the pose after your completed exhale. Inhale, expanding the chest, maintaining a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen. Activate the back, lengthen the front of the body, and then on the exhale, lay the torso along the thighs and continue to extend forward. Use the exhale to deepen the pose, no force. This can be done over a few breaths, allowing the deeper aspect of the asana to be expressed during the lengthened exhale. Inhale, bring the hands to the mat, walking yourself back up, bringing the hands behind you, completing the exhale, releasing the pose. Coming back to our stack pose, just bringing the hands back up to your sides, neutral spine, sitting tall. While still seated here, bring your hands behind you and slowly move onto your elbows. You might have to move a little further up your mat. Lower yourself down to the floor and bring the soles of your feet together and allow the knees to soften towards the floor. Your feet can be as further away from you as you'd like, or you can bring them in as far as you'd like. You can also add pillows or blocks on each side of your knees if this is too heavy on your knees. Just stay here and breathe and allow the body to relax. To release, place the hands beside the hips. Inhale, lift the head as you look forward. Exhale, push into the hands and lift back up, releasing the legs. From here, we're going to return to all fours or tabletop. Swinging the knees around. Finding a neutral spine, hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, feet hip width apart, spreading your fingers. You want to tuck the toes and inhale, shifting your weight forward onto the arms. You might have to move your hands up just a little bit. Inhale, shifting the weight onto the arms, pushing through the hands, engaging the feet. If this is too heavy on your arms and back, just keep the knees dropped down on the mat. You're just going to hold the pose here and breathe. Keep the upper abdominals engaged and try not to sag in your low back. We soften the shoulder blades, broadening across the collarbone to lift the sternum. Breathe, inhale into the middle of the chest. Exhale with a sense of expansion as you slowly lower yourself back to the mat, coming to a prone position. Allowing your head to rest on either side. And just allow your breath to return to normal. Okay. While lying prone on the mat, bring your hands up and press the palms into the floor, slightly behind the shoulders and close to the body. Tuck the toes under. And lift the shins off the floor. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back toward the spine with a sense of support. Pressing through the hands, we're going to keep the knees on the mat, engaging the upper abdominal muscles. Lift the thighs, hips, stomach, and chest off the floor. Keep the elbows bent and locked into the waist and above wrists. There should be one long line between feet, pelvis, shoulders, and head. Exhale, release back to prone position, returning the head to either side. This is Chaturanga Tadasana. We're going to try that a few more times. Keeping the toes tucked, lifting the shins off the floor. Inhale, middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Exhale, draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine with a sense of support. Keeping the knees on the mat. Pressing through the hands, engage the upper abdominal muscles, lift the thighs, hips, stomach, chest off the floor. Keep the elbows bent, locked into the waist and above your wrists. Exhale, release back down, head to either side. One more time. Tucking those toes, lifting the shins off the floor. Inhale, middle of the chest. Exhale, lower abdomen back towards the spine. Pressing through the hands. Lift the thighs, hips, stomach, chest off the floor. Elbows bent. Exhale, release back down to prone position. Head to either side, and relax the arms back down to your sides. And just allow your breath to return to normal here. On an inhale, bringing the hands back up to your sides, just underneath the shoulders. With the neutral spine, spread the fingers, distributing weight evenly. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine. Tuck the toes under, pushing the floor away from you. Lift your hips up and back. Lift the knees off the floor and push yourself back into down dog. Keeping those knees bent, allowing your head to drop down between your shoulders, pushing through the hands, allowing most of the weight to be in your hips. Inhale, slowly move back to all fours, noticing the transition. Doing that just a couple more times. You're going to tuck the toes. Exhale, lifting yourself up, pushing the hips back into your upside down V pose. You can start to pedal the heels here, or maybe straighten the legs just a little bit. Inhale, moving back to all fours. Shifting your weight back, opening the hips, and just move back towards child's pose, allowing the body to relax and sink in deeper. Allow the body to soften and release any tension. And just place your forehead on the mat and breathe naturally. You can keep your arms out, resting in front of you, or place them behind you to rest the shoulders. To release from child's pose, release the legs out from under you and come to a prone position, belly flat on the mat, and head resting to either side. So we are going to move into our cobra pose here, but I will demonstrate first. We are going to place our hands underneath the shoulders, keeping the elbows squeezed into the sides. You may need to adjust your hands up or out slightly to support the low back. Legs can be together, or they can be hip width apart to alleviate any pressure on the lower back. You're going to inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Exhale, engage the lower abdomen, press the pubic bone into the mat, keeping the legs active. Inhale, maintaining a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen. Focus on the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Activate the back, lift the chest, and lengthen from the top of the spine. Allow the hands to have a feeling of drawing back towards the hips as the torso peels off the floor to enter the pose. Keep the head in line with the spine as you lift up. Exhale and release back to prone position, turning the head to either side and energetically releasing the pose. You can rock through the body and pelvis to release any tension. Just a couple times, and then you can just move with me. Place the hands underneath your shoulders, keeping the elbows squeezed into the side. You can adjust your hands up or just out slightly, supporting the lower back. And legs can be together or hip width apart, whatever feels more comfortable on your lower back. Inhale, middle of the chest, sense of expansion. Exhale, engage those lower abdomens. Press the pubic bone into the mat, keeping the legs active. Inhale, maintaining a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen. Focus on the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Activate the back, lift the chest, and lengthen from the top of the spine. Allow hands to have a feeling of drawing back towards the hips as the torso peels off the floor to enter the pose. Keep your head in line with the spine as you lift up, and just only lift as high as you can. Exhale and release back to prone position, turning the head to either side, energetically releasing the pose. And just rock through the body and pelvis to release any tension. Returning to a normal breath. Moving through this one more time, place the hands underneath the shoulders, keeping the elbows squeezed into the sides, adjusting your legs where needed. Inhale, middle of the chest. Exhale, engage those lower abdomens, press through the pubic bone into the mat. Keep the legs active. Inhale, maintaining a subtle contraction of the low abdomen. Activate the back, lift the chest, and lengthen from the top of the spine. Allow the hands to have a feeling of drawing back towards the hips. And just keep the head in line with the spine. Exhale and release back to prone, turning your head to either side. On an inhale, bring the hands back to the mat. We're just going to lift ourselves up to all fours, coming to a neutral sitting position. And you can use a pillow or blanket under the sit bones if needed. Begin sitting in a cross-legged position. Increase the length of the spine by sitting tall. Lengthening the spine upwards, relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. Press the feet to the floor to activate the legs. We're going to work on a simple seated twist. You want to inhale, lengthening the spine upwards. Exhale. Gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine. And begin to twist, leading from the thoracic spine above the belly button, taking the body to the right. Being sure to try and keep both sit bones on the mat. Place your right hand on the ground and the left hand on the right knee. The head should remain staying forward and in line with the spine. Good. Inhale, and it can be a little harder to breathe here. Just focus on expanding the chest, but no need to force the inhale or twist. Just only twist as far as the breath will remain smooth and steady. Exhale. Inhale and unwind back to your starting position. We want to inhale on that unwind to support the spine. So we'll repeat for each side, and then we'll come back to a neutral spine. So inhale, lengthening the spine upward. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back toward the spine and begin to twist, leading from the thoracic to the left. Keeping both sit bones on the mat. Keeping your head facing forward. Inhale here, expanding the chest. Exhale. Inhale and unwind back to starting position. Good. We'll repeat one more time for each side. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, lower abdomen back towards the spine and twist to the right, leading with the thoracic, keeping the head facing forward. Inhale while in the pose. Exhale. Inhale, twisting back to starting position. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, draw the lower abdomen back toward the spine, twisting, leading from the thoracic to the left. Keeping the head straight. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, moving back to starting position. Good. Bring your hands behind you. Might need to move up into the middle of your mat a little bit. Bring your hands behind you and start to lower yourself down to the mat. Bringing your legs out in front of you. Locate the dens and displace your head back slightly. Create length in the back of the neck by inviting the chin forwards. And subtly draw the shoulder blades together. Equal feeling on both sides of the torso. Shoulders relax and not hunch. Adjust if needed. Bend the knees and move the heels comfortably close to your buttocks. Feet hip width apart. Ankles aligned under the knees. Place arms alongside the sides, pressing the hands lightly into the floor. Inhale, middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Exhale, draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine. Inhale and maintain a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen. Focus on a sense of expansion in the middle of the chest. Press the feet and the hands into the floor and lift the hips off the floor. Bring the chest towards the chin. Lengthen from the top of the spine so as to not compress the lower lumbar. Keeping the feet active and knees in line with the midline of the feet. Have a sense of drawing up from the thighs. Lift the big toes if you have any pain in the knees. Exhale from the lower abdomen, releasing one vertebrae at a time, coming back slowly to starting position. Energetically release the pose. Any pain during that pose there? Okay, good. If you do ever happen to have any pain in the neck, back, or knees, you can maintain a slight contraction in the lower abdomen while entering the pose on the inhale. You can keep your knees hip width apart. So doing that just a couple more times. Inhale, middle of the chest, sense of expansion. Exhale, draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine. Inhale and maintain that subtle contraction in the low abdomen. Focus on on a sense of expansion in the middle of the chest, and press the feet and hands into the floor and lift the hips off the floor. Bring the chest towards the chin, lengthen from the top of the spine, keeping the feet active and knees in line. And exhale from the low abdomen, release one vertebrae at a time, coming back slowly to the starting position. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine. Inhale, maintain a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen. Focus on a sense of expansion in the middle of the chest. Press the feet and hands into the floor and lift your hips off the floor, bringing the chest toward the chin. Lengthen from the top of the spine, keeping those feet active. You are welcome to stay here as long as your breath remains smooth and steady. And just remember to breathe, and when you release the pose, to exhale from the lower abdomen, releasing one vertebrae at a time. Relax your legs back down to the mat and find a happy back. From here, we're gonna roll up to seated. So we're gonna come to our starting position from Apana pose. So lift the feet off the floor and rest the palms on the knees. Knees and feet together, shoulders relaxed. Stacking vertically the knees above the hips and adjust to find your neutral spine. On an inhale, lift your tailbone slightly off the floor, placing your hands in a diamond formation underneath your sacrum or tailbone. Become aware of the connection to the ground from your forearms to elbows. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine. Press through your hands and forearms to bring your hips off the floor while maintaining the shape. Keep the feet close. Adjust into a comfortable seated position, finding a neutral spine. Coming to seated, to sit in Tadasana with legs extended out and feet flexed. Find a neutral spine. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Lift arms up overhead, sitting tall, lengthening the spine. You can keep a small bend in the knees if needed. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine. Bending the knees, hinging at the hips with a sense of reaching out with the arms as you fold forward. You want to bring the torso towards the thighs. Inhale, maintaining a subtle contraction of the lower abdomen, activating the back and lifting back up to starting position. Bringing the hands to the mat. We'll do this a couple more times. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion. Lift the arms up overhead, sitting tall. Exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine, bending the knees and hinging at the hips with a sense of reaching out with the arms as you fold forward. You can stay in the pose for up to 5 breaths as long as you're able to maintain a smooth and steady breath. And you can allow the back to round and focus on letting go. Inhale, maintaining the subtle contraction in the low abdomen. Activate the back, lifting up to starting position. Bringing the hands to the mat. And release the exhale. One more time. Inhale, bringing the arms up overhead, expanding the chest, sitting tall. Exhale, draw the lower abdomen back towards the spine, bending the knees, hinging at the hips. Inhale, maintaining that subtle contraction, the low abdomen, activate the back, lifting back up to starting position. Coming to a wall, we are going to work on our supported half shoulder stand pose. You're going to place your right hand next to you on the floor and roll your legs up the wall, bending the knees, coming onto your elbows, and coming into a comfortable seated position or lying position. We're adding a blanket underneath the shoulders and the neck for support. And just evenly distribute weight throughout the body. You can start to straighten the legs up the wall just a little bit and allow them to relax. Bringing the hands to the abdomen and just focus on breathing for a few deep breaths. After a few breaths, just bringing your hands back down to the floor, palms on the floor. You can bring the soles of your feet to the wall, distributing weight evenly throughout the feet. Legs about hip width apart, and the knees are at about a 65-degree angle. Becoming aware of our dense point here, displacing the head back slightly into the blanket. And then on an exhale, gently draw the chin towards the chest. And just feel the length in the back of the neck there. Once we're in this position, we do not want to turn or adjust our head once we're in. And you should be in a comfortable position. Inhale, inviting the shoulder blades together. Have a connection of opening the chest. Exhale into the lower abdomen, drawing in slightly. As we move into the inhale, we want to try and maintain a little of this contraction. Inhale into the middle of the chest with a sense of expansion, maintaining that slight contraction of the low abdomen. Start pressing the feet into the wall, pushing evenly through the hands and raising the hips off the floor. Inviting the chest to the chin, bringing the knees to a 90-degree angle. You should feel the weight distributed evenly throughout the shoulders and the upper arms. Exhale, slowly start to lower one vertebrae at a time. Coming back down to the starting position. And just relaxing the legs on the wall. We're going to do this for a few times. Bringing the legs back up, pressing the feet evenly into the wall at a 65-degree angle. Pressing the palms of the hands into the floor. Inhale, inviting the shoulder blades together, expanding the chest. Exhale with a slight contraction of the abdomen. Inhale, expanding the chest with slight contraction. Start to press the feet into the wall, lifting the hips off the floor. Inviting the chest to the chin, coming to a 90-degree angle. And just slowly exhale, start to roll down one vertebrae at a time. Back to starting position and releasing the pose. Bringing the feet back up to a 65-degree angle. And if
this is ever uncomfortable, you can always add a bolster under your hips as well. You can try and bring the feet wider on the wall. You're going to inhale, expanding the chest, sense of expansion. Exhale, a slight contraction of the abdomen. Inhale, expand the chest, start to press the feet into the wall, raising the hips off the floor. Exhale, roll down one vertebrae at a time. We'll do this 2 more times, and on the last round, I will invite you to stay in the pose for a little longer. Inhaling, biting the shoulder blades together, have a connection of opening the chest. Exhale, lower abdomen, drawing in slightly. Inhale, middle of the chest, sense of expansion, maintaining that slight contraction of the low abdomen. Pressing the feet into the wall, pushing evenly through the hands, lifting the hips off the floor, inviting the chest to the chin. Feel the weight distributed evenly over your elbows and across the back of the shoulders. Exhale, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Releasing the pose. Bringing the feet back up at a 65-degree angle, palms on the floor. Inhale, expanding the chest. Exhale, slight contraction of the abdomen. Inhale, middle of the chest, sense of expansion. Pressing the feet into the wall, pushing evenly through the hands, raising the hips off the floor, bringing the knees to a 90-degree angle. On this exhale, you can bring your hands to your hips or your lower back, just making sure the fingertips are pointing towards the feet. And you are welcome to stay here just as long as your breath can remain smooth and steady. And just focus on your breathing while maintaining the posture. And you are welcome to release back down whenever you feel good. Allow your breath to return to normal. And from here, we'll move away from the wall so we can move on to Savasana. Moving away from the wall, we have come to lie on our mat. Moving into Savasana, or corpse pose. Allowing just the feet to drop out naturally, letting your arms release outward, palms turn upward. Let your eyes, jaw, tongue, and throat soften. Release any controlled breath and begin to breathe naturally. Closing the eyes and just relaxing into the floor. We'll just remain here for a few minutes. While in Savasana, we are going to move into a meditation. Start to observe or notice any tension you may still have, how your body feels now that you've practiced. Listen to your
breathing and begin to feel the rise and fall of your chest. The rise and fall of your belly. Starting with the crown of your head, begin to release leftover tension, relaxing your forehead, your cheeks, your neck, moving into the shoulders and the arms, all the way down to your toes while still focusing on your breathing. Just observing your breath, allowing any negative thoughts to disappear. Imagine you are casting away any distracting thoughts into the water, into the air, just cast them away. Start to think of a place somewhere peaceful and quiet, like a beach, walking through a forest, or your favorite spot to read a book or relax. How do you feel there? Is the sand warm beneath your feet? Does the air smell like the ocean? Are there birds chirping around you as you walk through the forest? Imagine all of your senses completely submitting to the environment you see. Allow yourself to sink even deeper into the floor. And just continue to observe your breath as you let yourself sink into a blissful state. Inhale, expand the chest, and exhale, deeply suspending your breath. And start to bring awareness back to the body. Start with wiggling the fingers and toes, bringing slight movement back. When you're ready, you can hug the knees into the chest and then gently roll onto your right side, just using your arm as a pillow. Keeping the eyes closed. And whenever you're ready, just adjusting into a comfortable seated position. We are going to work on a pranayama practice called Nadi Shodhana. It's also known as nostril breathing, since we are in fact breathing throughout our nostrils. It's primarily aimed at clearing and purifying the subtle channels of the mind-body while balancing the right and left sides of the brain, and it can be beneficial for most everyone. While sitting in our seated position with a tall spine, you can bring your hands to the floor or your knees, wherever's comfortable. We're going to start with a few deep breaths, closing the eyes. Opening your eyes. With our right hand, we're going to bring it up to like right angle, so our elbows elevated, and bringing our index fingers to the palm. We're going to be using our thumb and our pinky finger to close our nostrils through this practice. So we'll be using our thumb to close the right nostril and the pinky finger to close the left nostril. So we'll just be rotating those fingers as we go. So to begin, we're going to close our right nostril with our thumb and inhale through the left,
bringing that breath all the way down through the spine and into your belly. Using the pinky finger, gently close the left nostril, and while releasing the exhale through the right nostril. Pause gently at the end of that exhale, keeping the left nostril closed. Inhale through the right, drawing the breath down through the spine. Release the left nostril, closing the right nostril with the thumb. Exhaling, releasing the breath out through the left. And that completes one round of Nadi Shodhana. We're going to continue the same pattern for each additional round. And it's just important that the breath remains slow, gentle, and relaxed throughout this practice. So we'll just repeat it a couple more times, and then I will invite you to practice on your own. Bringing your arm back up, using your thumb and your pinky finger. Close the right nostril with your thumb. Inhale through the left, breathing all the way down through the spine. Closing the left nostril with the pinky finger. Exhaling through the right nostril, releasing the breath. Pausing gently, keeping the left nostril closed. Inhale through the right, drawing the breath down through the spine. Release the left and close the right with your thumb. Exhale, release the breath out through the left. Inhale through the left nostril, switching the fingers. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, switching the fingers. Exhale through the left. And you are welcome to continue this on your own. Just come to a comfortable seated position and returning your breath back to normal. And just thank yourself for practicing today.